Good morning, audience. I'm Dr. Himanshu Ojha, Senior Scientist, Division of Civil and Defense, Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Life Sciences, which is one of the lab of life science wing of DRDO, Ministry of Defense. Today, I'm going to deliver a talk on role of chemistry in CBN decontamination and disinfection. In this talk, I'm going to introduce you a concept called CBRN, decontamination and disinfection. As it is the past of a faculty development program, and we know that for the performance of any organization, there are six essential elements. These are strategies, structure, management processes, work processes, rewards, and people. We know that people is the most important essential element. If we do not have a trained or group manpower, we cannot make our organization vibrant with using these five essential ingredients. Therefore, FDP's programs are routinely organized by different organizations to groom their people. With this aim, I'm going to introduce you the new knowledge about CBRN. Now, let us find out what is the layout of this presentation. In this presentation, I'm going to touch upon CBRN emergencies. Then I'm going to discuss some reported incident and attacks. Then I will introduce you to the concept of contamination. Then scientifically, do you mean by decontamination and what are the procedures being followed currently in different countries? Then if the problem is there, what is the solution that country have? Yes, PRD is working in this direction and PRD have developed products for decontamination and disinfection. So what is CBRN, friends? C stands here for chemical, an uncontrolled release of a chemical from its containment that either threaten to or does expose to a chemical hazard. It means that if any chemical which is hazardous in nature or may pose threat to any human being or the living being, if controlled, if released from its containment in an uncontrolled manner, that can lead to catastrophe, then this incident can be termed as chemical. Similarly, for biological, a biological incident where the onset of symptoms may require days to weeks and there is typically no characteristic signature, but because of the delayed onset of symptoms in a biological incident, the area affected may be greater due to the migration of infected individuals. Let what happened in the case of corona. Corona is, if it is proven by the any detailed investigation that it is because of the release of any virus, then it can be clubbed into a category of biological incident. The R here stands for radiological and N stands for nuclear. Both the elements are essentially are same because they are radioactive. But what do you mean by why the radiological need to be keeping aside from nuclear? In the nuclear, it is related to the detonation of nuclear device or any accident which happened due to a nuclear power plant or nuclear reactor. But we know that there are strict international guidelines for the manufacturing, for the transportation, for the utilization, and for the wastage of or the waste management of the nuclear material. So they are very tightly controlled, and therefore we have very limited number of cases related to nuclear detonation or nuclear power reactors. But radiological materials are those materials which are produced as a byproduct during the processing of nuclear material. And in that respect, manufacturing, transportation, utilization, and the management of the waste is not very strict. So the accessibility of radiological material is easy. And yes, we have received more number of cases as compared to nuclear material. Therefore, radiological materials are kept, apart from the nuclear material. So, with this four-letter CBRN stands. But can anybody, tell me why CBRN is written like this? Why not it is BCRN? Why not it is RNCB? Why it is specifically written as CBRN? Yes, it is written in a particular fashion because it is basically shows the most probability of occurrence. We have recorded maximum number of cases related to chemical incidents, then followed by biological, followed by radiological, and very limited number of cases related to nuclear material. So that is why the term coined as CBRN. Now, what is chemical? In the chemical category, the the most lethal one are chemical warfare agents. The chemical warfare agents are basically of again sub-classified two types: lethal agent, nerve agents, blood agents, vesicant oblique blister agents, and choking agents. So, what is nerve agents? These are the agents which affect the nerve system of the victims, and they are one of the most lethal one. And recently, 2018 attack of sarin gas in Syria. Then we have a 2018 Kuala Lumpur airport incident in which VX was used. Then in UK in 2019, very recently, one of the Russian you know was affected because of the nerve agent. So we have recently have observed that the more incident chemical warfare agent in a related incident were related to nerve agents. So they are one of the most lethal one. The next to the category are blister agents. Mustard, sulfur mustard. I think you must have read sulfur mustard in class 12. Sulfur mustard are basically the compounds of organosulfur compounds. When they, anybody get exposed to the sulfur organosulfur compounds, then it causes the blistering of the skin. The skin filled with a yellow colored necrotic fluid, and it subsequently cause blisters. Then, if the things not get properly medical attention, then it lead to the deterioration of the health condition, and ultimately the person may die. Other is blood agent, potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide is clubbed into the blood agent category. Basically, it affects the mitochondria of the cell. As we know that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So if the powerhouse got failed, so cell would not have a sufficient energy to for its normal function. Choking agents, yes, very important. We know that phosgene, because phosgene is widely used in industrial applications, but yes, its effect is very profound and very lethal. Therefore, despite being it is an industrial gas, it is being clubbed into a chemical warfare agent category. So it is a very, very important and very lethal chemical warfare agent. In the non-lethal types, there are two types. Incapacitating agent, they are those drugs which basically incapacitate the victim in terms of decision taking. They're normally used, like for example, one in the Russia, when the Chechen rebels took the or a public place into the hostage like situation. So the Russian intelligence services take a chemical and incapacitate both victims as well as the criminals. So they able to not take decision properly. So the hostage like situation resolved very, very easily. Other is riot controlling agents. When the protester or mobs got stuck at some place and they cause danger to the law and the law and order of the public place, then the police or the paramilitary forces use right control agents to disperse the mob. So basically, they are non-lethal in case, but yes, the severity is there. Now, is there any incident related to chemical warfare agents reported? Yes, in civilian domains, there are basically two accidents. One in 1994, when a religious cult called Om Shri Rinko, they tried to make an attempt with the sarin nerve gas in a Japanese city, will lead to killing of 7 people and 500 injured and 200 hospitalized. Then in 1995, the same cult again deployed sarin gas in Tokyo subway system, which led to killing of 12 people and injuring of 3,800, and which required at least 100,000 people's hospitalization. In both the incident, although the killing is not very high, but yes, the panic is very, very large. So therefore, these are the two important incidents where it is being seen That CBN is now a stern reality. It is no more a distant dream, it is a stern reality. Now, coming to the biological part, and when I always start with the biological incidents, then the first thing which come up to my mind is swine flu. It was in the first decade, the India have started reporting these kind of incident in 2014, 15. Uh, from the 1st of January to 2nd of February, there were 5,157 cases reported in Delhi itself, which lead to the 407 deaths. So it is had the potential to be a pandemic or at least an epidemic, and there were more than 30,000 cases where it lead to a around 2,335 lives of people have been claimed all over the country till April 2015. But fortunately, drug was there, drug was made available, and we couldn't witness the lockdown situation in the case of swine flu. Although there were that rumors around the corner that the NDMA or the central government may impose lockdown, national lockdown to contain the pandemic, but the situation was not, it didn't went out of hand, and the authority is able to contain that particular situation into a limited number of cases. But when I deliberate, or when I read about swine flu, that it's something appears to mind. Why this such situation come up very number of cases arised alarmingly in a very short span of time. So if it is related to some accidental leakage, then it is a biological incident. But uh, we haven't received any official statement from any authorities regarding this. So we assume that it's a basically a disease epidemic which contained there. But in 2020 January, India witnessing a new, not only India, the whole Asia and the world start witnessing a new pandemic called Corona, COVID-19 infection. So if we can make you understand that the increase of the cases uh, from the month wise, then we can see that the first case was reported in 31st December 2019 in a region called Wuhan in China. Then the 1st of January 2020, the WHO activated the incident management team. Then 5th of January, the WHO issued first disease outbreak news. But still the WHO didn't realize it and didn't declare it as a global pandemic. Then on the 23rd, the restriction was imposed in Wuhan. All transport in and out was suspended. 30th of January, the WHO declared public health emergency on international level. So it almost take a more than a 1 month by the WHO to decide where it is a public health emergency. And then from the 4th of the Feb, strategic preparedness and response plan issued. And in 11th of March, WHO declared COVID-19 as pandemic. So you can see that the number of deaths happen in different regions of Asia, Europe, South America, North America, and the African countries. This is a very solid state. If I would like to, summarize the corona in our country like this, I have deliberately put these, photograph in this particular way. When the corona happened, then the testing came into picture. There, after the government imposed national lockdown, then in the second wave, there were a problem in the public health services. The patient didn't get beds, proper services, and ultimately it lead to a situation like a photograph which are being published in Washington Times, the leading news in American newspaper. Number of countless death happened in India, and countless cremation happen in India. Then followed being the government have given promotion to the uh, COVID and COVID-19 related vaccination. That is the only solution right now we have, and that is why the government is focusing on this. So you can imagine that a simple virus, and which, as according to many studies, says it is not more than 2 gram all over the globe, is able to cause thousands of people death, and can create havoc, disturb economies, social fabric of different countries, and lead to international rivalries. So you can imagine the potential of biological incident and attacks in the CBR. Then coming to the radiological and nuclear scenario, uh, when I start with the radiological scenarios, then the nuclear facility accident happened in Chernobyl is the most prominent one, and even a documentary. There are many documentaries available on YouTube, and there is a very good series called with the name of Chernobyl available on Hotstar. If you have time, please go and watch it. Then you actually feel the plight of people who were living in the Pripyat during and post the nuclear accident, and how the government and authorities contain that particular accident. Thereafter, the another infamous accident happened in Fukushima, Japan, which is called triple disaster. And because of tsunami, the nuclear reactor got hit, and then the spread of the radioactivity. It lead to the sabotage of nuclear plants. Not only the economical loss happened, the country has also suffered the social losses also. Beside the nuclear accidents, there are accidents involving the medical or the industrial source. Then one happened in Geonia, Morocco, and Mayapuri. The Mayapuri 2010 infamous accident happened in India, in our own city, when a often or not all, often it is a in use out of use radioactive source find place into a Mayapuri junkyard, and without being noticed by the authorities, it went into it. Then everybody knows through the newspapers or Google News, Google videos, YouTube videos, that what happened in the Mayapuri. So the Mayapuri was a lesson learning example for us. And after the Mayapur incident, all the authorities which are related to the CBR, and they have learned the lesson. They have taken the guidelines and strict compliance of the guidelines. So no such incident no such incident happened in India in last 1 decade. So that is a big achievement we have achieved after the Mayapur incident. Then there are the accidents which are associated with the transport of radioactive materials. This is very important, because any if anybody can hamper or interplay with the transport material, then it may lead to the spread of radioactivity in the public areas. So that is a very important. Then the there are challenges associated with the open sources. Like for example, in one of the country where there was a diagnostic facility which was not in use. The burglars break into the diagnostic facility. They find this machine very expensive, so they stolen away. And as we know, they couldn't find anything expensive or sellable, so they left it open source there. Then the kids who play in that particular area, they got themselves contaminated, and lead to and take away the contamination along with them to their home, and ultimately it infected the whole family, and the family got affected by the radioactivity. So there are challenges with the open source also. The new dimension when the countries like ours, neighbors, which only wage the proxy wars, the nuclear and radiological terrorism, is a stern reality, not a distant dream. So we should have a proper policy and guidelines to contain or to meet the challenges related to nuclear terrorism. Coming to the Fukushima nuclear power plant crisis. So this is a region, this is the island near the Tokyo. which is called Fukushima, and it was on the sea front, and a earthquake on the Friday hit the sea coastline, and the tsunami waves emerged out of from the earthquake, hit the four towers, one, two, three, four. You can see from this, figure. So this explosion happened on Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and then it lead to the spread of radioactivity in the nearby areas. In fact, there were many theories. They say the radioactivity has been traveled to North America, but much there's no much conclusive evidence found in that aspect. But since Japan is known for its disaster planning, they have a, good protocols, they have strict compliance, so they able to clear this uh, disaster in a very smart way, and so they suffered very less economic and social loss because of this Fukushima incident. Now, friends, we are moving toward the second, contamination and decontamination. So I'm stopping here, and again we will start from here.